Well, now, if you're just joining us.
I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing. I don't know what we're talking about. It's all derailed. It's no good.
I'll hide. Next time that happens, I'll just
turn
off the.
Don't hide. This is the bit. Like, this is the. We don't do television here, because if we did, then this wouldn't happen. We don't pretend these things aren't occurring, and just like we react to them. I'm pissed off about it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, but I'm pissed off about it, and I have every right to be pissed off about it. It's the way that it works. Imagine if John Harbaugh, like, they throw an interception, and he's just like, I don't care. You'd all be pissed off. You get pissed off when John Harbaugh says, I thought we played well, and you got to really credit the other team. We're supposed to be pissed off about this stuff.
I know.
That's the way that it goes. We're supposed to be angry, not just like, pretend it never happened. Nonsense.
Well, I mean, what I want to do is I want to, start screaming obscenities right now, but, like,
well,
that doesn't help anyone, does it?
I don't know. Do you have anyone in particular that you want to scream?
Yeah, a few MFers like this.
Well, then just
this,
sort of maybe move slightly away from the microphone and scream it in that direction.
That doesn't. I don't think that's gonna.
But that's the point. The point is,
right?
we're going to address the problems. We're not just going to pretend like they're not happening. That helps no one to just pretend like they don't exist. I don't know what it is. I would say we're going to fix it. Let's be honest. We've had years. We haven't fixed it. So here's my guess. We're not. And for some reason, I appreciate the fact that many of you still choose to come back. I don't know why, but you do, and God bless you for it. It means a great deal to me, and I guess my family. I don't think my family cares. I'm lying if I say that, but God bless you for making such.
Deep down, they know that
they
it's
know
important.
what?
They know that it's important.
What's important?
What you just said, that people are returning to us.
I guess. Some people, I think, didn't. Some people were like, I want a show that just works when it says it's going to work. When it says it's going to do show, it does show. That's the show that I'm looking for. And for some reason, continuously, we have an issue with that. We did the, by the way, new episode of Glenn and Rita now available. And for like the first 5 minutes, Rita wasn't on the screen. The camera was frozen. And somehow none of us noticed. It was from 3 hours before that.
So it's just an empty...
Just an empty chair.
Oh.
Sitting there. All of a sudden, Rita looks up at the screen. She's like, where am I? And I said, dunno. Why does that happen? Also dunno.
But you and... did you guys freeze as well?
No.
Oh.
We did not freeze.
Interesting.
That
is
in
weird.
Good shape. It was just Rita. I don't have the answer. We don't need to test it right now. We've got nobody here today. But it's a real shame Drew couldn't make it in. Just a bummer.
It is. It really
the
is.
hell we were talking about. We were talking about winning
the
football.
Ravens and
Lamar, John Harbaugh being
Lamar
defensive.
costing this team wins.
I didn't say that. They've won all the games. And John Harbaugh says he's playing winning football. And I think there's an ounce of truth. I think there's partial truth to it. And I think John Harbaugh also knows. One, I don't expect John Harbaugh to be the one to say. Other people did. Ronnie Stanley said, if the offense plays like this, we're not winning a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson said, he's right. Of course we're not. We all know that. But I don't expect John Harbaugh necessarily to be the one to say that. Why would he want to call out his players like that publicly when they've won 5 straight games? That does nothing to benefit them. Now, hopefully, privately, that's the conversations as the coaching staff that they're having. Hopefully, John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, the players, they're all having the conversation. They say, look, we've gotten away with it, but we know it needs to be dramatically better than this. Dramatically. But that doesn't mean that John Harbaugh needs to say it in front of the world. I got no problem with him choosing to say nice things about his quarterback. We all like Lamar Jackson. Nobody thinks that if the Ravens are going to do anything, it's going to be because Lamar Jackson plays good football. But just being completely fair, I don't think Lamar Jackson has played good football for the last couple of weeks. And that's not – I think we all know what's going on. I think we can all do the math and say Lamar Jackson is a compromised version of himself, but that doesn't mean that I lie about it or that I hide from it. I don't think Lamar Jackson is playing particularly good football for the last couple of weeks. I think he's made some poor decisions. I think his health probably is leaning into why he's made some of those poor decisions. I think the offensive line is playing a role in why he's made some poor decisions. Now, he hasn't, as we just said, he hasn't cost them games. But I think that we know that in order to win something of significance, the Ravens will need Lamar Jackson to be much better than he has been currently. And I don't think it's a problem to say that out loud. There was good news on the injury front yesterday. Not only Lamar Jackson back on the practice field, but also you get a second straight day of practice from Rashad Bateman. Kyle Hamilton back on the practice field, so he appears to be good to go. Travis Jones, who I somehow completely missed, didn't practice on Monday, but he was on the practice field yesterday. The only interesting part was that Justice Hill suddenly went from no injury designation to not practicing, so we'll see what that means. We knew that Taven Bryan was going to be out for a little while, so otherwise good news regarding the Ravens and practice yesterday as they get ready for the Bengals tomorrow night. And speaking of the Bengals, had to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, but an opportunity to catch up with one of our favorite guests from WLW out in Cincinnati. He's our buddy Rocky Boiman right here on GCR. Of course, tomorrow night, Thanksgiving night, Ravens-Bengals here in Baltimore. And if it's Bengals week, that means we get to catch up with one of our absolute favorites. Of course, host on WLW out in Cincinnati, former NFL linebacker, the great Rocky Boiman is back with us. Rock, happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Thank you for taking the time.
Glenn, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, brother. Great time of year to be with loved ones, but always happy to be on your show, man.
Dude, are you responsible for any of the Thanksgiving meal in your house? Is there anything that you take ownership of and say, I'm preparing this?
Absolutely not. I simply show up and the meal is prepared. Everything is laid out. I am told what time to be there, and I just sit down and eat, Glenn.
That is a good life.
Sorry to say, but that's the situation, yes.
That is a good life. I had that for a little while in my life, but then the last few years I finally had to take responsibility for the turkey. And I don't actually mind that, as you would imagine. Smoking a turkey is actually a pretty fun way to spend a few hours on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that part of it. But I do.
I'll tell you what. If I had a smoker or a deep fryer, hang out outside, have a beer, have a cigar, and roast that. Yeah, man, I'd be all for that.
Way worse ways to spend a Wednesday afternoon and evening than doing that, so I don't mind it too much. All right, Rocky, we play Would You Rather Wednesday here on the program. 2 weeks ago when we were starting to map this out, we had a scenario where we said, would you rather the Ravens face Joe Flacco on Thanksgiving night or Joe Burrow perhaps in his first game back, not knowing exactly where he is health-wise? And I still think that the Ravens would have been better off facing Joe Flacco, but you tell me your thoughts on what we should expect from Joe Burrow in his first game back tomorrow.
Yeah, Glenn, it's hard to say. He's had, over 2 months off. He's got the toe injury. And what's really strange is everybody around here, myself and really anybody who's involved with the Bengals, I mean, the word when he got injured was, boy, this is really, really bad. Toes are complicated injuries, and there was a dislocation, and it requires surgery. So I think everyone thought, okay, it's probably done for the rest of the year. If not, maybe if there's a playoff run mid-December, maybe he'll give it a go. But the fact that he's coming on Thanksgiving weeks ahead of the time frame that was originally put out there is I guess kind of I won't say startling, but it's caught people by surprise a little bit. So the debate is, are they rushing him back?
Mm-hmm.
Is he rushing himself back and maybe he's not quite ready? So I think that, all those factors are still in play, but of all accounts we're getting now is everything he attacked the rehab, he went ahead of schedule, and he feels great, and he's ready to go. And I've been saying really for weeks, the debate is, okay, if the season's basically over, which it more or less is for the Bengals. Do you bother putting him out
Is it
there?
worth
And I
it?
say, look, if he is 100% ready to go and no restrictions, okay, no like, well, we can't really roll him out to the left because that would put unneeded none of that. If there's no diversions from the game plan and he can just go out there and let it rip, I say, yes, go ahead and play him. If there are any restrictions or if there's things you're not comfortable with, if that thing's not feeling 100%, I don't think he should. So the fact that he's playing, my mind tells me he is 100% ready to go, and we'll see what happens.
The Ravens have had a miserable history against Jamarr Chase specifically over the years. We know a year ago, 457 yards, 5 touchdowns between 2 games. With no T. Higgins tomorrow night, should we expect that, like, he might actually have all of that in one game tomorrow?
Well, look, Joe Burrow's not stupid, nor is Joe Flacco. Much of the reason for Joe Flacco's remarkable success under crazy circumstances coming in hot off the street was the fact that both those quarterbacks are smart enough to know, get the ball to Jamarr Chase. I mean, you know, it's I always say, Glenn, football is very simple. Get your best players the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to go down, if you're going to lose a game, you're better off as a coach standing behind the podium after the game saying, well, look, we tried to get the ball to Jamarr Chase 20 times tonight. The Ravens did a great job taking him away. Tip of the cap to you guys. You'd rather do that than, you know, try to, you know, you get caught up in the scheme and we got to do this, we got to go through the progressions. No, find ways to get your best player the ball, especially with Joe Burrow coming back, and I'm sure there's going to be a degree of rust to him. I think he's going to look early and often to Jamarr Chase.
Yeah, that would be my expectation. We'll see how the Ravens answer it. He is Rocky Boiman from out in Cincinnati, WLW. He's with us here on GCR. Rocky, the joke, of course, with Joe Burrow coming back is, great, is he going to play defensive back, right? Because that's obviously the issue. Now, I know it wasn't maybe quite as bad. I guess if the bar is really low, then perhaps we say it wasn't quite as bad against the Patriots. The Ravens have had, actually, oddly, a lot of offensive problems in the last couple of weeks. They're just 5 of their last 14 in the red zone in particular. Are the Bengals so abominable defensively that, like, this is the cure that the Ravens have been waiting for an offense that's been a little sluggish in recent weeks?
It really could be, Glenn. This defense is not very good. And again, go back to everyone's, Al Golden, the scheme is in this and that. No, it's very simple. The Bengals don't have enough great players on defense, and their best player, Trey Hendrickson, hasn't played for a couple weeks.
Right.
Won't play here Thursday night. So again, you can have all the scheme in the world and draw up all these defenses, and I think Al Golden is one heck of a coordinator. But when you ain't got the horses, it's really tough. So the Bengals are going to go with really the plan they had even coming into the season, which is we got to outscore people. We got to outscore people, and Joe Burrow is capable of doing that. Obviously much harder without T. Higgins in there. Obviously much harder being the fact that he's not quite in the rhythm with being out so long. But, yeah, I mean, this defense has been bad. It's just, the tackling – and again, the lack of impact plays. There's just no – I always say, Glenn, my rule on defense is, and every good defense I was a part of in 8 years, you need about 8 guys that are really good or fundamentally sound, do their job, are smart. Then you need 3 game wreckers. Okay, you need guys that just flat go out there and make plays. Now, I was never of the game wrecker type, but again, the good defenses I played on were the ones that had a Dwight Freeney or a Robert Mathis that could go get a sack, or had a Bob Sanders in the at the safety position that would just go make a play, right? Not even within the confines of the defense, just go make a play. Or Kevin Carter or Javon Kearse would have a sack. That's what this defense is lacking. They don't have any of those game wreckers, and it really shows.
You bring up, the question of, is it worth it with Joe Burrow? And I guess the flip side argument is they won 5 straight to end the season a year ago and damn near, backed into the postseason doing it. Is this team capable of going on that type of run, Rock, or is that just, like, there's just no way to believe that's possible given the defense?
I would honestly be shocked if they could have some sort of season turnaround and get in the playoffs and have success. just again going back to that defense. That has been consistently the issue. Now you mentioned they did play better, probably their best overall game against the Patriots last week, and it was good to see. It's some of the guys that had a lot of question marks. Stone has really been kind of a letdown since he's come to Cincinnati. He had 13 tackles and a pick. Barrett Carter. We got a couple of young linebackers that the Bengals have really made a focus on clearing the deck for these young linebackers. They must think a lot of them and think they're the future. We're talking about Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter. It hasn't really shown up on the field or on tape. Now last week Barrett Carter had 16 tackles, so that's very positive and good news for him. But in general, I just don't think this defense again has the game records that you need to really make an honest playoff run, especially now being so far behind the eight ball. The Bengals been able to win the game last week, or the game a couple weeks ago against the Bears. They were right there. Probably should have, could have won that game. If they had maybe two more wins in that win column, I think the playoffs would be realistic, even with this defense. But without it, I really don't see it, to be honest.
What about on the flip side? Is there any danger at all for Zach Taylor? Like, I don't know that you can blame him for Joe Burrow getting hurt, or I know the defense isn't his area necessarily, but the situation is what it is. Is there any risk at all for Zach Taylor moving forward?
You mean in terms of playing Joe Burrow, or
no?
Just him being the coach?
I mean, like, is there any world where that you lose maybe 3 of the next 5, something like that, and you're talking about Zach Taylor being on the hot seat?
Yeah, look, I think if this was any other franchise, I think that certainly would be the case. And there's lots of franchises out there that have a much quicker trigger finger than the Bengals do. The Bengals and Mike Brown are very, very loyal. Mike Brown historically has talked about how, since he was a kid, he was in the business of football, right, with his dad. He had to see, coaches get fired and families get relocated. He hates that. He absolutely hates that, which I think is a very, very noble thing. And so I'll also say that I don't know if Zach Taylor is probably the prime issue here. To me, it's the person that's in charge, the people that are in charge of acquiring the talent. Glenn, you go back through the recent drafts, and they have just missed on top players. And that says nothing about the good franchises, and the Ravens have done in the past, and the Eagles do it for sure, getting those top players and find those diamonds in the rough in the 4th and the 5th and the 6th round. They've not done that at all, and they've missed on some recent top draft picks. Jamarr Stewart, you may have as many tackles as Jamarr Stewart, first-round defensive end. Miles Murphy out of Clemson a couple years ago has flashed a little bit, but he's never been that dominant player. Joseph Osai, same sort of thing. So, yeah, it's just I put most of the blame on the people that are in charge of finding and evaluating the talent. I think they deserve most of the blame here for why this season has gone the way it has.
I know, we're obviously not likely to see him on Thursday, and I get that, like, you look and the record was 1-5, but what was the emotion, the feeling for that fan base out there, and this kind of crazy Joe Flacco experience that they've had? You know how beloved he is here. What was the ride like despite the record? And what were the feelings from Bengals fans and the people of Cincinnati about what Joe Flacco did over the last 6 weeks?
People here absolutely loved it, man. They absolutely appreciated what Joe Flacco was able to come in here and do. And certainly, for me and my business, right, just like you, it gave us something to talk about.
Yeah.
I think, Bengals fans next year and 10 years from now are going to look back very, very fondly on Joe Flacco and what he was able to do coming in here, very short notice coming in, and for him to perform the way he did. And I still think he's capable of performing at that same level. He's just a little beat up, right? He's got the shoulder, and now he had the finger last week. And look, he's 40 years old. That's kind of expected, but just a remarkable, run that he had. And I'll point this out, Glenn, and I do a lot on my show. I hope Joe Burrow can learn some things from Joe Flacco. In my opinion, Joe Burrow's issue is he's still trying to play hero ball out there and make a play every single time, right? And I think that's why he gets in, because and I made this point, like every game Joe Burrow starts, it's the offensive line stinks, the line stinks, the line stinks. Well, that conversation wasn't really had when Joe Flacco was at quarterback. Why? Because as a more veteran guy, I watched the games and I saw him, look, somebody gets cut loose, boom, that ball gets thrown into the dirt, right? There's a blitz coming, it didn't get picked up, that ball gets sailed into the 12th row. Or maybe he just takes the check down instead of trying to make the 20 or 30-yard play down the field. I mean, for no other reason than his future, health. I think Joe Burrow needs to learn how to do that and understand that there's no play or even game that is worth his health and the sacrifice of that for what he means being a franchise quarterback. I think that's one thing, hopefully, in my opinion, and I don't know if that's a popular opinion or not, but that's my opinion, what I think I'm hoping Joe Burrow kind of learns a little bit from seeing the veteran Joe Flacco out there, not just go be a thrower and be a dynamic playmaker, but be a quarterback and understand when to give up on a play and when to move forward.
That is interesting. That is really compelling stuff. I wish that we could just go back and take all those press conferences he did and bottle them up into like a podcast series. And like, God, it's so funny,
Right.
Rock, because I had the opportunity. I got to know Joe really well while he was in Baltimore, and when he was drafted,
very cool.
when he was drafted, his dad told us, he said, I don't think you're going to like Joe that much. He's painfully dull. And every time I talked to him, he gave me gold.
Yeah.
Every time. He's just a really interesting person, man. And so happy for him that he got to have maybe if this is it, who knows? Maybe in 2 weeks he'll be in Minnesota or something like that playing football.
There you go. Or maybe we'll be back next year as a
Right?
backup here. Who knows, man? But, good for him for, just staying in shape and staying mentally into it and having a really great moment here late in his career.
At Rocky Boiman 50 is how you follow him. Did I see it's Florida State for you this week?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got the big rivalry game now. Both.
Yeah, not
both teams
right.
are having,
Yeah.
not the ones of years past, but still a compelling matchup. You got. Florida came into the season with so much hype and so much hope, and DJ Lagway is the unquestioned starter, and they changed some things on defense, and they're playing some younger guys. Had a lot of it, and it just, coming off a 4 wins last year to end the season, is like, man, this team's going to roll, and it just hasn't gone that way. And for Florida State, kind of almost the, same thing, coming off a horrible year, but then game 1, they beat Alabama 31-10. And even now, Glenn, their offense is like in the top of the ACC and some offensive categories in the top 5 in the nation. I mean, they offensively, they are great, and big plays out of Castellanos, the quarterback, but, a lot of turnovers and some things on defense. So it'll be very compelling, though, I think, just to see how each team desires to finish this season and then bump into next year.
It's Saturday, 4:30 on ESPN2 for that one. Rocky, appreciated you having me on your show yesterday. Thanks, as always, for doing this today. And we'll look forward to chatting again in a couple of weeks, all right?
Glenn, you do a great job. Always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for coming on my show. And, yeah, man, we'll do it again here in a couple of weeks.
That's Rocky Boiman from out in Cincinnati. Appreciate him taking the time for us. All right, we continue along here on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. The scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and on Facebook. And I don't know if it's just because people are off work today. I don't know what's going on, but a slow response, so that might improve your chances of winning a Flock Yeah t-shirt just by getting in for Would You Rather Wednesday today at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky. Turkey Bowl tomorrow, Calvert Hall and Loyola, 10 a.m. over at Towson. And, of course, semifinal weekend in the state high school playoffs. Find out everything you need to know by going to countysports.zone. It's proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com, countysports.zone. Lots of college hoops. Biggest week of the regular season, arguably, in college hoops. Maryland gets pummeled by Gonzaga last night after beating UNLV on Monday. Towson now 1 win away from claiming an MTE title down in Florida. Joining us now to talk about that and more, he is our friend Patrick Stevens, Washington Post, Blue Ribbon, at Discourse, D1S Course is how you follow him. Patrick, good morning, sir. How are you?
I am well, Glenn. How are you?
I'm all right. It's weird because I don't think anybody on the planet thought that Maryland was going to be terribly competitive with Gonzaga, and yet, I don't know, still somehow it might have been a disappointing performance because it was like 3 minutes where they played, and then otherwise, yeah. I guess the question for me, Patrick, I still don't think it's likely that Maryland finds their way into the NCAA tournament this year, but if they do, how much did UNLV matter, and how much maybe does tonight against Alabama matter if there is a world in which they're competing to get into the NCAA tournament?
Well, I don't think UNLV matters much because I think that's a mid-pack Mountain West team at best. That's a team that's basically in almost the exact same spot as Maryland is, except a step down with a first-year coach and the roster that almost entirely turned over and all that. So they're going through some of the same stuff Maryland is. If you're Maryland, I don't know if you feel good that you're catching Alabama after it had one really good and one pretty good offensive performance the last 2 days. But obviously beating Alabama would help. At the same time, there's really no sign that Maryland is a team capable of keeping pace with a team that has that kind of an offense. I mean, just being realistic. And so when you look at a game like last night, I mean, Gonzaga is a better team than Marquette. Gonzaga is a better team, I think, than Georgetown. Certainly Georgetown, now that one of its bigs is out for the next month and a half or so. So, you try to look at that and you say, well, what does that really tell you? And what it tells me is that any sort of high-end offensive team in the Big Ten is probably going to have their way with them, which, again, there's nothing really new surprising there either, right? Like Purdue, Michigan, Illinois, maybe a Wisconsin, maybe a Michigan State. I think you would have looked at those games as being unlikely for this team to win in the first place. So I don't know if there's really a whole lot that you really conclude other than that it's probably good for everyone involved that game didn't tip until 9:30 in the East, and a lot of people went to bed before watching it.
And tonight's doesn't tip till midnight. So
and tonight doesn't tip until tomorrow. So
exactly right.
So I think it might be best for Maryland just to come back and pretend like those 3 games didn't even happen. I will say this: the good thing that they get out of this trip, no matter what, is Pharrell back.
Right. Absolutely.
And so you look at that, and that by itself, given the way he came down in that Marquette game, only misses 1 game. That's a win for them. It's a win for him. That simply was more of a scare than maybe anything else.
Down in Kissimmee, Florida, 2 really nice wins for Towson. I don't want to oversell that. I don't want to make it seem like suddenly they're gonna have a shot at getting like an at-large bid or something. It's just 2 nice wins. And you might know that my producer Griffin, he is a massive Towson fan, and to him he's like, today kind of matters because I just like to see that they can prove that they can win 3 games in 3 days. Something they've had kind of a problem doing.
Well, I would point out, by the way, that their real issue has been winning the second game.
That's true. That's fair.
And so I thought yesterday was the big obstacle to get through. And I'm not going to lie, as I'm sitting there watching that game yesterday,
I thought it was going to get away from them.
And it's a 5-point game, and then it's suddenly down to 2, and you're sitting there thinking, down to 1 then. It's like, man, this feels an awful lot like a couple of these CAA tournament games over the years. So for them to gut that out, for Tejada to make his free throws like you would expect him to play such excellent defense on that last possession and block a attempt to tie it there and get away with a 72-69 win over a team that's going to have a really good chance to win Conference USA. I don't know how good Rhode Island is because that's one of those programs that keeps resetting its roster every single year. So I think that I don't know if I take too much from that, but also worth noting here is that Towson went out and was playing a team that, it's funny, Richie McKay obviously worked for Tony Bennett and whatnot. You don't necessarily think of those as like really crisp offensive teams, but you look at what they did early in the season, getting into the high 80s and 90s a bunch, to play a game that kind of reined them in a little bit. I thought that was a really good sign too. So definitely curious to see how Towson does today against the UC San Diego team. New coach from last year. They obviously were really, really good and have obviously gotten off to a pretty good start this season as well.
Yeah, they did everything right defensively down the stretch yesterday, except for one really insane foul. Really,
there were definitely a couple head scratchers in there where it's like there's a point where maybe you don't want to try quite this hard on something.
No doubt about it. Staying on the local front from this week, Patrick, I actually, of all the crazy things, I watched a little bit of Coppin State Rider for some reason last night.
Okay.
Coppin State gets a road win over anybody before MEAC play, I think is notable for them. Anything else worth discussing on the local front?
Well, first of all, I do want to go ahead and kind of expound on that a little bit. That is only the second road win in Larry Stewart's tenure at Coppin State. They won at Eastern Shore last season. It's their first road non-conference victory since beating Loyola back in December of 2002. So, I think if you're Coppin, that I don't want to say that makes your non-conference season, but it kind of does because you would had the victory over the non-1 last week. You get your doors blown off at VCU. And this was really one of the more manageable games you were going to have prior to conference play, and they got it done. So good for them. I saw Morgan State last night, and they did not have a very good start. We're down 21-6 pretty much right out of the chute. Came back to make it interesting, could never claw the lead back. That's 5 losses in a row for the Bears, and they still have a fair bit of work to do. As much as I like Elijah Davis, the senior transfer from Bowie State, and Alfred Worrell from Southern Miss had a really good game too. But they've got a lot of work to do, and now they're off for a week and a half before they take on Longwood. So that's a couple things certainly locally that are worth mentioning. I would also a couple other things. Mount St. Mary's having a ton of injuries right now. After that overtime victory or overtime loss to Maryland, they did not play well on their road trip to Western Michigan and Ohio State. Really shorthanded. And they'll come home and get back-to-back home games Saturday and Wednesday. Howard coming in to Knott Arena, and then Wednesday Sacred Heart for their conference opener. And finally, I'll point out Navy starting a MTE today down in North Carolina. They're coming off an 86-70 victory. I got to look at them on Saturday against NJIT. And I thought the big thing in that game, besides Aiden Kehoe making some free throws, which was just a huge development for a guy that's really struggled there over the years, was getting a really good game from Jordan Pennick, who had started much of last season, was coming off the bench most of this month. He had 17 points. They really need him to be able to at least be a guy that's some kind of a threat scoring-wise, whether he's starting or not. And they got a little bit, they got the chance to see that. 17 on Saturday. He'd only had 10 over his previous 4 games combined.
That's big, no doubt. It's Patrick Stevens at Discourse. That's how you follow him. He's with us here on GCR. Obviously, when I say on the national front, there's like a million things to talk about this week. I guess I start with, now, did they offer you money to try to say nice things about the Vegas tournament, or did you get left out of that offer at this point?
No, look, it is clearly whether it's good or bad, and probably by the tone of my voice, you're kind of guessing where I'm at on that. It's a sign of the times, right? Like, people want to make money. And you can make some money going out and doing that. Now, do I quite understand how?
I got lots of questions about that. There's nobody at the games, right?
There's nobody at the games. Like, all these ticket packages are silly expensive. I don't know how appealing Vegas is for Thanksgiving week, but then again, me. Like, I don't think
there's
Vegas
not a
is
week where you're ever
going to
be. Yeah,
that is not my wheelhouse. Yeah. So I do think that you've got to come, if you're going to continue this, you've got to come up with like a real tournament format. And they don't really have.
And the idea that I saw being thrown around last night was the idea that they were going to make it like a 3-week event where you go for a week, then other teams would go for another week, and then like winners from those 2 weeks would come back for a third week. I'm like,
campus games.
How in the world does any of this work?
Yeah, I mean, it would actually make more sense if you basically set it up so that you had sort of pool play on campus.
Yes. Right.
Okay, like let's say you had 4 pool games the first 2 weeks of this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go out there and you play 3 more or something, and that essentially takes up your entire
it sends you to
November.
whatever bracket you're going to be in, right?
Correct.
Like you know, if you win your pool games, you can go into the top bracket. If you lose them, you still go to Vegas. You just go into a lower bracket, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, imagine you have, they're talking about 32 teams,
Yes.
right? So you have 8 pools of 4. You know, maybe that's not the best number. Actually, I'm trying to think here what would work. I'm just doing this on the fly. But maybe it's a deal where, you know, you alternate whether you get 2 home games one year, 2 road games the next, or maybe there's a new, however you do it, right? Like you figure out a way to make that work. And then all of the first place teams in the pools advance to like the first place bracket, second place, third place, fourth place bracket. And you have 4 8-team brackets once you get out there, and you play 3 days that way. But, you know, I don't think anybody in that business is seeking my opinion as to how to actually make this thing work.
It feels like it's worth talking about what Jacoby Gillespie is doing at Tennessee.
Well, you know, I think we saw last year in College Park that Gillespie was pretty good. And frankly, I know that Derek Queen was the first team all-conference guy, and Gillespie wasn't. I had a vote in that, and I put Gillespie on the first team last year because I thought he was their most important player by far. And so, you know, he's gone out and has been even better for Tennessee so far. And the 2 games this week, 32 against Rutgers and 22 against Houston, just a really, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, how did this guy end up at Belmont in the first place, right? Like, how did nobody notice this guy? No disrespect to Belmont, which is a really good program.
Yep.
But how did he get overlooked coming out of high school? Just, you know, everything we saw last year. I think he had like 1 dud game last year. He didn't play well. I remember he did not play well out at Washington, I think it was, where you're just like, man, that wasn't very good. But there weren't more of those. Like there might have been 1 or 2 others where you thought, man, he didn't get very good point guard play tonight. But he was just rock solid all last season, and clearly that's translated playing at Tennessee, where there's plenty of talent around him as well.
Anything else? Any big ones that jump off the page to you about what we've seen this week?
Not particularly. I mean, I would say one team that kind of stood out to me, even though they I think they lost their second game out in Maui, Seton Hall, which was awful last year, and then goes and beats NC State to get to 6-0 on Monday. They lost yesterday to USC and Rodney Rice, while we're talking about former Terps. But that's a team that looks like it's a lot better, and they poured a fair bit of money, shockingly, right? Like you get a lot better. It turns out you put a bunch of money into it. So that's a team I think suddenly warrants a little more attention in the Big East this year, simply because those results suggest that they're definitely way better than they were last year when they went 7-25.
A little controversy in that Seton Hall game yesterday. There was a very bad out-of-bounds call in the second half, but Shaheen Holloway had already used his challenge in the first half and couldn't do anything about it, and a little bit of discourse about whether or not maybe as this expands, perhaps there's two I don't know what the story ends up being, or whether coaches learn you don't use your challenge until like the final 4 minutes of the game. Like you don't do it until the game is at stake. We will see. Let's play our game. Can Patrick Stevens name the MLB team that this player played for or managed? We begin with a very easy one on the manager front. Patrick, of course, someone who I think is now done. I think. We will see. You never know because he's still only 70 years old, but 3 teams managed by Bruce Bochy.
Bruce Bochy would be San Diego, San Francisco, and Texas.
Of course. Now, a little bit more difficult. This one we always do a bit more of a ball buster on a multi-team guy. This guy ended up being an all-star once. He also won a Silver Slugger at one point in his career. There were ultimately 6 stops for Josh Bell.
Josh Bell, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Washington.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego.
I did not remember San Diego. I only got 3.
Yeah, he went over in the Soto deal.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Yes.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
He was in Miami?
Yeah.
Are you sure there's a sixth?
There's one more. In 2024, he played 41 games before returning to Washington.
Did he end up with the Yankees at the tail end of that year?
Arizona
Okay.
was the spot for Josh Bell. And then, again, a very easy one to wrap it up, a Hall of Famer, 3 teams for the legendary Wade Boggs.
So you got Boston, New York, and Tampa Bay. New York Yankees
correct,
and Tampa Bay.
Where he won a World Series and then rode a horse around afterwards.
And
then didn't he ask to go into the Hall of Fame as a Ray because he had some deal?
I think he did.
Yeah.
And he's also the subject of maybe the greatest tweet of all time.
Oh God.
So it was somebody sort of like the phrasing was, people sitting around talking about old sports players, blah blah blah, is a sign of like disaffection or whatever, and it was somebody named like Joe Boggs or Eric Boggs, and somebody replies to that, any relation to Wade Boggs?
Okay, not bad. Of course, legendarily also, I believe, once consumed 70 beers on a flight, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, Wade Boggs.
And also a Simpsons legend.
That's correct. That's a fact. Where are you headed this weekend?
Locally, you'll see me over at Loyola on Sunday. They got Coppin State in that at 6:00. Making some other trips around. Might see Towson this week too. They've got Cornell. That's still kind of TBD. There's a few balls up in the air. But Towson, their next home game, especially if they win today, it'll be interesting to see them. They have Cornell next Wednesday.
At Discourse, D1S Course on Twitter and Blue Sky, Blue Ribbon, Washington Post. Patrick, happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I always appreciate you. Let's talk again next Thursday, all right?
Awesome, Glenn. You have a great holiday.
It's Patrick Stevens with us, as he is every week here on GCR. When we come back in, we'll make our picks. KZ joins us next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Don Marcus profiles new Maryland Athletic Director Jim Smith, breaking down the challenge he faces in his new role and the unique background he brings to the job. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg takes an in-depth look at Orioles outfielder Dylan Beavers. And we meet college basketball players from all the programs around the state before the season gets underway. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region. And starting this month, you can find us at Baltimore area High's Dairy Store locations. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners, but only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. If you missed Stan the Fan Charles, Luke Jackson, and Andy Koska of the Baltimore Banner talking to Orioles this week, you can find it, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan Show is brought to you by the Costas Inn and the all-new Costas Inn, now open in Timonium at the Grandstand, where they're hosting an event with Rick Dempsey coming up in just a couple of weeks, December 11th. 1983 World Series MVP Rick Dempsey will be hanging out from 6 to 8 p.m. For pictures and autographs at the Costas Inn in Timonium. So make sure you get there to see Rick Dempsey. John in Little Rock, remember when the night before Thanksgiving?
It's still what it is. It's Blackout
You going
Wednesday.
out? You're going out tonight? You're getting ripped.
It's Blackout Wednesday. What do you?
Got to be awake at 3 a.m. First of all, that ended for me years ago. I'm always the guy. This is the problem now in my life is I'm always the guy that signs up for working on holidays because I do not go out any longer. So I'm like, no problem. I'll work these holiday mornings. And so I'd done them at the other radio station for the last few years. And then when I get over to BAL, they're like, hey, you certainly don't have to, but we were wondering how you felt about holidays. And I'm like, you don't realize I have no problem working holidays because I don't go out anymore. All good. You want me to do the morning show on Thanksgiving? No issue. And they said, great, you're in. Now, this was before I was informed that you had to be awake at.
It wasn't 6 a.m. It was.
Yeah, like when I would roll in over there at 5:58 to do the morning show, which is still earlier than at the old station. Like, of course, Drew and I would roll in at about 6:03 or so. It'd be about the time that we would start over there. And we weren't fill-ins. We were the hosts. So, yeah, I did not realize that when I agreed to work this shift. And so I'm doing Project Game Day after the game on Thursday night, live from the conference room at WBAL, where I will be sleeping on the couch for 2 hours and then waking back up to do the morning show on Friday. That is it's the first time I've slept at a radio station in
50 years?
No. 12 years, maybe? Like, it definitely happened a few times at the old place. But it's been a long time since I've done that. All right, let's make some picks. He is Ken Zalis. He is with us right now here on GCR. What's going on, buddy? How are you? Huh? Old man? You know how to unmute yourself?
I'm great.
Hey,
How are you?
Hey, there's our guy. How's that guy you told me to pick up last week? How's Shavers? How's that guy doing?
I dropped him. I didn't say start him.
I didn't start him, but I messaged you.
Those are the type of guys you pick up late in the year, see if they're going to do something, and they don't, you drop them.
He sure as hell did not do anything.
He did not.
Not.
But to be fair, there were some well-known established players that did Zippo as well last week. So
that is a fact.
You know, I can't be too mad on him when Addison and Williams, who were in many lineups,
yeah, that's true,
put donuts up.
God, the Vikings are such a disaster.
Disaster.
There's one league where I'm gonna miss the playoffs, and it's because I had the 5th pick. And all the guys I wanted went 1 through 4, and I sat there at 5. I'm like, I could reach and take Derrick Henry, which wouldn't have been great, right?
No, it would not have been.
But the player that was there that was, a little bit lower than his average draft position was, of course, Justin Jefferson. And so I said, I guess I'd be an idiot if I don't take Justin Jefferson at 5. But I didn't feel good about it for a reason.
No.
Oh, God.
No, I mean, we all know what the right pick was at 5 now, but... water under the bridge.
All right. Anyway, let's do this. Oh, you know what? Before you're gonna play Would You Rather Wednesday with us because Drew's not here today.
So I am. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't I have been out all morning, so I don't even know what the scenarios are.
Well, here we go. This will be fun. Are you somewhere where you can look something up by chance?
I'm kind of on my phone outside.
Do you mean like pull it up? Or?
Well,
I can.
I haven't read them.
I can try.
Okay, all right. You might need to for one of these. You might have been following current events, so you might be aware of it. But if you're not, then I don't know that I want to discuss it at length. I want you to just find out on your own. And you're not you're not at school, correct?
No, I'm on my porch.
Would you rather, number one, would you rather the Ravens indeed win the AFC North? They open the playoffs by hosting the Chiefs. Or they get in as a wild card, and it works out that they go to Buffalo, who ends up coming back and winning their division, and the Chiefs miss the playoffs altogether.
That's a good one. One of your better ones. You know.
Yeah. Normally your scenarios suck.
No.
Normally I hate this segment and hate your face, ugly.
No. Normally I don't have to think as much as I do on the first one. I'd like them to be at home and face the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. Is that because you're not? Is that because you're not afraid of the Chiefs, or is that?
One, I'm not afraid of the Chiefs, and two, going to the playoff, going to Buffalo in a snowy situation possibly isn't really what I want the Ravens to do with how they're playing right now.
Okay.
So I'd rather than be at home and face a team that really doesn't stretch the field and I don't think is that good right now offensively.
Now, to be fair, but at that point they would probably be clicking again because they would have had to have
I'm sure they'll be great.
They would have had to have overtaken the Patriots in order to do this.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure some wide receiver that used to play for them will come back and at 35 years old.
They got Brandon Cooks now, baby. What are you talking about?
Like Cooks.
Difference
so,
maker
you know,
Griffin?
I'll probably, not because I'm not afraid of the Chiefs. I am afraid of the Chiefs. But I think, you have to have a home playoff game. Like, if they fall to the wild card, that means they probably limped in, and so something doesn't look right.
Or the way I said it is the Steelers got hot.
Okay. Okay, that's what you said. I
guess I didn't say that. That's what I meant to say.
I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect that
to happen.
But
in this scenario, it is, Griffin.
I would
stop. God damn it!
I would think something happened with the Ravens then that they're playing terrible and the Steelers just kind of figured it out. That means they lost one, maybe both of the Steelers games, and yeah, to your point, that means Buffalo's playing really well. So I would take the home playoff game because it means they're playing better at least. So I'd have more hope that they can somehow defeat the Chiefs.
A lot of keep the Chiefs out so far. A lot of that so far. Number two, would you rather the Orioles trade Kobe Mayo to land Twins ace Joe Ryan? Probably start throwing another piece or two, but basically Kobe Mayo's the prize. Or they got to hold on to Mayo because he's going to be the middle of the order bat that they need for years to come.
Oh, I love Kobe Mayo, but I'll see ya.
Wow.
I mean, we got a billion people that can play first base, so. So no, I think Mayo's going to be a really good. I like what I saw September from him, sort of figuring it out, like a lot of the other young guys that we've brought up over time have been doing. But if you're going to bring me Joe Ryan, sign me up.
Yeah, I'll take the pitcher as well. It's,
all right.
I hope Kobe Mayo's a great player. It'd be great if he's a great player here. But the Orioles need a pitcher, and I don't have great confidence that they're gonna sign any of these top 3, 4, 5 guys that are free agents. So I will take I'll take Joe Ryan.
It's coming in heavy on that, by the way. Coming in heavy on. Go ahead and trade.
When Casey said this is one of your better ones, he was not referring to the.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And number 3, when this is the one, Ken.
I'm ready to Google something.
There's some current events recently. They're related to our current director of health and human services. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, Mr. Kennedy.
He cured
Yeah, I know. He's
cured the one that the something ate his brain or something.
Yeah, there is a brain worm involved. He apparently. He had a bit of I guess it was a digital affair with a journalist, and there was a term that America is learning about involved with this digital affair. The term is felching. Are you familiar with the term felching?
Felching?
Felching. CHING. Yeah, that's the one. Why don't you go ahead and look that up? You don't need to give all the details away. I just want to get your reaction.
I don't care what the other thing is. But.
Well, hang on.
All right, hold on. Let me, I haven't looked.
Hang on. Yeah, the term is felching. And now here's the setup for Would You Rather Wednesday. You show up tomorrow for Thanksgiving dinner.
What?
And
no. I mean,
and the matriarch or patriarch of your family is discussing current events and ends up leading an uncomfortably long conversation about the topic of felching. Or you can avoid said conversation, but it means that the only things you get to have for Thanksgiving dinner are dry-ass turkey and the Kraft apple pie mac and cheese. And when I tell you that it's somehow worse than you think, I mean it when I tell you it's somehow worse than you think and you have to eat it in this scenario.
yeah, I'll finish a full bowl of that probably. As long as I don't have to ever think about what this is again.
I'm on one of the. See, I know you already did this, and I don't want to try it, but it can't possibly be as bad as you said it was.
It's worse than that. It's
just like there's certain things that I've told you over time that I never thought were that bad, and I was usually pretty accurate.
Here's
I'll knowing who is at my Thanksgiving dinner, I think the entertainment value of the discussion.
Oh, you're good with it?
Yeah, but they're not going to eat the rest of it. I'm not going to eat the dinner.
Right? I think the uncomfortable part would just break into hilarity at some point.
All right.
So I'm going to go there.
Yeah, Granny, they were felching.
I'm going to be hungover. I'm not going to eat anyway. Like, this is...
Again, if you're with your kids, don't look this up. Wait till they walk away. If you're not familiar...
Do not look this up. Do not put it on your work account.
He's in charge of our health, Ken. He's not
in charge of mine. He's a buffoon.
He's in charge of our nation's health, and don't you forget it. And
I
don't know if you've heard, but I
actually can't believe he's a Kennedy.
We're making America healthy again. I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but that's what we're doing.
Everything's hunky dory.
All right, here's where we are in picks. Get your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday in @Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook, or Blue Sky. Someone's getting the Flocky t-shirt just for participating today. James Revere has opened up a 4-game lead over Griffin and Andrew Stecca, 7 games clear of myself, John and Little Rock, Jeremy Kahn, John Proctor, and Joe Serpico. Then Ryan Chell and Ken Zalis no longer our power bottom. Ken Zalis, 8 games back, and KZ is, after a 7-2 week, 4 games clear of our power bottom. In fact, he's got someone between him. Kyle Ottenheimer is 9 games back, and then 3 games clear at the bottom of the table is where we find Paul Valley, currently our power. Do you want to do it, Griffin?
And new
power bottom, Paul Valley. All right, let's get into it. 3 college games, 6 NFL games. Picks are brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, the best place to watch every big game is Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Great food, drink specials, 100-foot media wall just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Where are we starting?
We're going to Memphis, Tennessee, actually. First, do you think, what are the odds my bet hits this weekend, do you think? That Maryland gets a W.
Gets the over 4. I would say not great. Not great. Were you able to sell that at some point to cash out?
Never,
no.
I mean, maybe if I had looked at it at some point
in the
during
Washington
the Washington game. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably should have looked into
hilarious.
It's one of the greatest stories of all time.
It's one of the funniest things ever.
It's one of the. I want us to actually do a web series about this bet. I want us to do an investigative podcast about this bet. It's amazing. I don't even care that Maryland's lost all their games now because I've gotten this entertainment about it.
I do have a Navy over 8.5. They're at 8 wins right now, so there you go. They're going to Memphis, taking on the Memphis Tigers on Thanksgiving night. 7:30 on ESPN. Memphis laying 5.5 against the Mids.
Yeah. And Blake Horvath's good. You remember when Ken was like, they're not going to win another game, and then they took care of business against South Florida. I don't know. I guess I have to be back on the Navy bandwagon. It's probably a mistake. It's probably a trap on the road. But Memphis isn't quite as good as we thought they were, and you're getting 5.5 points to play with. I think I like Navy. I think I like it here.
Yeah, Memphis isn't as good as we thought they were, but neither is Navy.
Just beat South Florida.
Senior day is a different thing. I failed to realize it was senior day last week when I made my pick, and that was a error on my part. But it's not senior day this week for the midshipmen, and they're going on the road. I'll take the Tigers.
Yeah, it would feel like it could be a letdown spot here for Navy. Obviously, a big win at home, but they had, the week. I guess it wasn't full 2 weeks, but a week plus, a week and a half off here to kind of get past that. And they are, it's a service academy, so those kind of spots don't typically prove too much. 2 weeks ago, Alex Golesh with USF was kind of one of the hotter names, and now that's very much cooled off here.
All right.
And now Ryan Silverfield, there's a lot of rumors that he could be up at Arkansas. And I think they're going to go ahead and make it back-to-back weeks where they keep a coach around a little bit longer because his name's not quite as hot afterwards. Let's go with Navy straight up here as well.
Whoa.
I'll take the
Whoa.
Mids.
That means you only get the point if they win straight up.
I only get the point?
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll take that.
All right.
I'll take that. Most of us are on the Mids. KZ's on Memphis, John Proctor, Joe Serpico, and Andrew Stecca, the four on Memphis.
That means the public is on
the
Memphis.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, Jeremy on Navy alongside the bulk of the crew this week. Then to Friday, we'll stay in college football here. The number 3 ranked undefeated Texas A&M Aggies going to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. 7:30 on Friday nights on ABC, and going on the road, Aggies are laying 2.5.
This one's tough for me because I don't know what to make of what happened last time out for Texas A&M. Not the Samford game because that doesn't count. I mean, of course, the South Carolina.
Should have scored 50.
Yeah, right. The South Carolina game where they were getting getting throttled and had to put together a dramatic comeback in the second half. Something tells me they're not quite ready for this. I'm gonna go Texas here.
So they're not ready for it, but Texas is. Who's Texas beat?
I don't know if you remember. They beat Vanderbilt.
They beat OU.
Beat
Oklahoma.
They did.
They did beat OU. They beat Vanderbilt. Okay.
They did.
I'm going to go Texas A&M. I think their defense is legit, and everybody kept telling us before the season that Texas's defense is legit, and I don't think they are. I don't think they're that good. So it's just 2.5. Who do I think is going to win the game? I think it's Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't have a strong pull either way. The Longhorns have played the tougher schedule. They've played 3 playoff teams, and they have the 1 win over Oklahoma. And Vandy I didn't include in those 3 playoff teams, so you can make it 4 potentially. But A&M has only played the 1. They did beat Notre Dame, which was definitely a big win. I also have a Marcel Reed Heisman bet, so I'm just going to kind of hedge that here.
There you go.
I'll take Texas because again, it feels like I don't know. It just feels kind of weird here. Yeah, I will take Texas as well. Don't love agreeing with Glenn.
When's the last time these teams? Because so they haven't played. Hang on a second.
Last time they played.
They hadn't played for years, and then did they play last year?
I guess not. I don't remember.
That's the thing. I feel like this is. I want to make sure I get this right. No, they played last year, but they played last year in College Station. This is the first Texas A&M Texas game in Austin since 2010.
Gotcha. So, yeah, they did. Yeah. They hadn't played since 2011 before last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, first time they played in Austin in 15 years.
Most of us on A&M, Glenn, Jeremy Kahn, James, and Joe, and myself are
I got
on
James.
The
I'm good. He knows what he's doing.
And we got Kahn.
They send him the script, apparently, before the week starts.
Ridiculous.
So
7-5 split there with the 5 on Texas. Then finally to the big game at the Big House, the number 18 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Game is at noon, and they are hosting Ohio State and getting 9.5 points.
God damn it! They're asking you to bet Michigan because it's insane that Ohio State would be a 9.5 point road favorite over a team they haven't beat since I think the Kennedy administration.
Well, we're in another Kennedy administration here.
It's true. Making America healthy again. How do you bet Ohio State here? How could you possibly bet Ohio State? Other than the line is so screwy that I feel like you have to bet Ohio State. So give me Ohio State because this line is nuts. Bonkers. There's no way that this should be a 9.5-point line.
You are absolutely 100% correct. That it's insane that it's 9.5. But I'm going to play a little defense here.
Okay.
And I know that one of the people that I need to stay ahead of
is Kyle
our
Ottenheimer.
buddy Kyle.
Yeah.
And I know
he's picking Michigan for sure.
that he's picking Michigan. Plus, my son will be in attendance of this game.
Why? Why is that?
Because his one of his best friends attends Michigan and got him a ticket.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I've never been to an Ohio State Michigan game.
I said when he asked me if he could go, I was like, well, yeah. I think this is one of those things you want to do in life.
100%.
So I'm going to go Michigan, even though I have very little confidence in it. And I think Ohio State's the better team, but I'm going to play a little defense and take Michigan.
All right.
Interesting. Okay. It's going to be freezing cold in Ann Arbor on Saturday. About like 30 degrees. I think there's a 70% chance of snow. I don't think there'll be like heaps of snow, but I think it may be snowing during the game. I think it's going to be low scoring, and so for that reason, I think Michigan keeps it close. Probably wins.
Of course, Michigan. Like, you don't understand. Everything you just said is accurate. It's just that the moment they made the line 9.5, I had no choice.
Apparently, I guess this means the public's on Ohio State. Jeremy Kahn's on Michigan. Most of us are on Michigan.
Because I get it.
There are 4 on Ohio State. Andrew Stetka, yourself, John Proctor, and John in Little Rock.
I don't know how I feel about that
on the
crew.
Buckeyes.
I don't know if that's who I want to go to war with. I'm not sure.
8-4 split in favor of the Wolverines.
All right.
To the NFL, it's a 1:00 game. Isn't this game usually at 12 or 12:30?
Yeah, somebody brought that up yesterday. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Lions are hosting the Packers.
Because you normally go right from the parade into the game.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
And I also
or
feel like
at least at like 12:30.
I also feel like you missed the end
of a gap.
Like because
12:30, 4:30 were always the game.
My wife, her father went to Blakefield, and so she believes the boys will be going to Blakefield, and so like she pretends that it's a whole. I'm not sure they're gonna get in, dog. Like they keep talking about like, well, you're a legacy, so you should probably be safe. I'm like, are there any tests? Because if there's one test, we might be screwed. Might be in trouble. So she always wants to watch the game on Thanksgiving morning. And, like, I feel like we always end up missing the end of it because it, like, bleeds into the start of the Detroit game. So I do think you're right about that.
Okay. The Lions are laying 2.5 at it for a 1:00 kick against the Packers.
The shortest week of the year that an NFL team can have is playing the first game. So there's an inherent advantage for Detroit in those situations. I'm not enamored with Detroit. They're a very confusing team to me. Like, we want them to be great. They are not great. But in this spot, because it's only 2.5, I just think Jahmyr Gibbs right now. Like, Micah Parsons can do a lot of things, but I don't think he can neutralize Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs is on one at the moment. So give me the Lions.
Yeah, I wish the Lions coach wouldn't be scared to like put points up on the board. Because he just never likes to kick field goals.
No.
Huh?
No, he just wants to go for it on 4th down all the time.
Every time, it's like it doesn't matter what the situation. He just goes for it. And he's got a pretty good field goal kicker. But I agree with Glenn. Like, really short week. Detroit playing at home Thanksgiving always seems like it's a good bet for me. So I'll take Detroit.
The last 21 years, as an underdog, the Lions are 0-15 straight up. And, of course, they are a favorite in this one. As favorites, they are 5-1 straight up on Thanksgiving.
How about that?
I also got a moon phases stat for you. It's a waxing crescent. And the Lions are 10-1 over the last 3 seasons on waxing
Can't
crescents.
lose.
Yeah.
Can't
7-4 on Thanksgiving.
Clear eyes, crescent moon, can't lose. That's what they always say.
Waxing crescents.
No, waxing crescent
3-0 under waxing crescent moons against the Packers.
Yeah.
Too. In the last.
You're gonna fight with the moon?
I'm not.
You want to have a fist fight with the moon today?
Again, I don't have a real strong feeling either way. Lions at home, so I'll take the Lions as well. And plus, got the moon obviously on our side.
Waxing crescent.
We are nearly all on the.
I believe that's something else that Robert F. Kennedy was texting about. Was
the moon on our side?
No, was waxing crescent. Pretty
Oh,
sure
it's something.
that was.
Don't look that one.
Yeah,
up
that
there.
one might be an Urban Dictionary.
2 on the Packers, Stetka and Jeremy Kahn.
All right.
So that's where we're at with that one. The 4:30 game on CBS, the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs laying 3 points.
I know that I picked against the Cowboys last week, and that burned me, but I'm going back to the well. I'm fully back on board with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, as I know that they hadn't won a one-possession game until last week, but now they did, and the Chiefs, as small favorites, have been very payable over the last few years, so give me back on the wagon with the Chiefs.
What's the line?
3.
Yeah, Chiefs -3.
Trace.
Chiefs -3?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, give me Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Look, as I said,
We're on the right side.
I know it didn't look good for the first
Didn't look good at
20
all,
minutes of the game, but they did fix the defense and their offense. They got weapons, so I like what I see out of the Cowboys. Not a big Cowboy fan, but I like what I see out of Cowboys, and I think they can win any type of game against the Chiefs. Chiefs had no reason to win that game last week. It did what Chiefs do, but on the road, Thanksgiving, give me Cowboys.
I'm not really sure why I picked the Cowboys last week. I did, and obviously it worked out, and I really needed it because I had a horrible week. But I'm not going to do that again. That was not fun to be on the Cowboys for most of that game. So the Chiefs obviously prove they can win, and they probably are. So the Chiefs plus another Bet Lab stat for you: 20-6 road favorites on Thanksgiving.
All right. I got a turkey to.
These are important. We're trying to break down the matchups here.
I have to go pick my kids up and get the turkey on the smoker, man.
6-on-6 split here. Glenn and I on KC, Andrew Stetka, Joe Serpico, John in Little Rock, and Kyle Ottenheimer on the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're going head-to-head with Kyle in this one, Ken. The to Black Friday Prime Video game at 3 p.m., the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Chicago Bears. Eagles laying 7.
Bears.
I actually forget who I picked here. So I'm gonna take Philly. I don't know why. I feel a little bit of a bounce back from them. Be a game I'm not watching because I refuse to pay for it. Give me the Eagles.
You watch any Thursday night?
Yeah, a lot of people have Amazon.
No, I don't know. I have not. I let it go. I was like, they're usually suck ass games.
I mean, I guess, yeah. You do remain steadfast on the Eagles. You did send me Eagles last night as well. The Bears-Eagles alliance has been fun to watch this season because they both have beaten the Bears have beat everyone in the NFC East. The Eagles have beaten everyone in the NFC North. So they've both been kind of rooting for each other this week. So I don't know what to do. 7 points just seems way too high. I feel like the Eagles do need to bounce back here, but against a fraudulent team in the Bears. Or since they need a win, do they just slow it down and try to win ugly?
Just pick a pick. We
like
gotta go.
I don't like being on the Bears. I'm gonna take the
right.
Bears here, getting 7 points on a short week, I guess. We are 7-5 in favor of Chicago. KZ's on Philly. Kyle, Proctor, Jeremy Kahn, and James on the Eagles. So there you go. I guess that tells you who's going to win.
God, it is good, Proctor. Maffa, Make America Felchi again. That's not bad. That's not bad, Proctor. Not bad.
I don't want to hear the word anymore.
Come on.
Houston to Sunday. Houston Texans going to Indianapolis at 1 o'clock on CBS. The Colts laying 4.5 at home.
Yeah, that's enough for me to bite on Houston. Their defense obviously is as advertised. I had been a doubter, but I'm gonna jump on board just because of the points. Like I don't know that I would bet they would win, but 4.5 points with that defense is enough for me to bite.
I'm the same. I mean, I didn't jump off the Indy bandwagon just because of last week, but I defensively, I'll the 4.5, keeping it close, divisional game. I'll take the Texans.
I don't know if there's a stat on it, but I feel like that's not good when I agree with both of you. But I agree. The Texans defense
it probably isn't.
Not a great idea.
Texans defense is definitely legit, so they're getting 4.5 points despite going on the road. I will take Houston as well. Four backers of the Colts: Stetka, James, Joe, and Ryan Shell on Indianapolis. Buffalo at Pittsburgh, 4:25 game on CBS on Sunday. Bills are laying 3.5 going into Heinz. Well,
doesn't this just feel like if the Bills hadn't lost last week, wouldn't we all be on the Steelers here? Like if Bills one, I feel like everybody would say this is the Steelers at home getting points. You're always supposed to take them in that spot. It's just that because the Bills lost, like suddenly I'm like, well, they're gonna get right, aren't they? But when the Steelers are home dogs, you're supposed to take them. Like that's the way this game works. So I'm taking the Steelers.
I am not. I get it. I've been wrong every single time with the home dog and the Steelers, but something about the Bills coming off a loss.
I know.
I just it seems like it's one of those like Ravens coming off of a bye.
Yep.
Type
100%.
situations where I don't know what the numbers are. I'm sure I'm about to be told, but I like the Bills to bounce back, and I'll take that.
I don't know. This feels like a Tomlin special here where they beat the Bills for when they and they probably shouldn't. I'll take the Steelers. You said Steelers as well?
Yes.
I'm taking the Steelers, and hopefully I just continue to be wrong again about the Steelers games as well, and they end up losing. But Glenn and I both on Pittsburgh, Jeremy Kahn and Kyle Ottenheimer on the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. Finally, to tomorrow night, Thanksgiving night, 8:20 on NBC, the Ravens laying 7.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals. Like I get it, I do, but I don't think the Ravens are going to be as many offensive problems they've had. I don't think the Bengals can stop them because the Bengals can't stop anyone. Still, Jamarr Chase might be targeted 75 times tomorrow night. He might be targeted 175 times tomorrow night. The Bengals are going to score some points. It's enough for me to bite. Bengals.
Joe Burrow coming back, hadn't played football in a couple of months, going to be rusty. Game plan's pretty easy to figure out. There's no T. Higgins, so you blanket Chase and make sure he doesn't catch 19 balls for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns, and but can the Ravens score? Like we're not. I don't see the confidence. I don't have the confidence in the offense when it's 7.5. I'm going to continue to take points against the Ravens and say they win the game, but I'm going to take the Bengals.
I am going to have to take the Bengals as well. More Thanksgiving numbers. Favorites of 7 or more, 25-10 against the spread.
And you just took the Bengals.
I know. It's too bad that those stats aren't in our favor. I'm going to take the Bengals. I don't feel good about it.
It's a very weird way to here's this number that makes no sense to back up why it is that I'm.
Well, the number makes sense. I mean, yes. It's just a trend on Thanksgiving. Short weeks here. I don't know.
But you took the other team.
I know. I'm saying I'm going against the trend.
I'm
saying I'm going against the trend.
Normally, when you make a pick, you give up with a number that backs the reason why you're making the pick.
I know, and I'm saying I just disagree with.
I don't understand
the trend.
this.
I'm saying I'm pointing out the trend that it
Thank
favors
you.
the Ravens.
Okay.
I don't care.
Maybe the way that you present it, you do it the opposite
know?
way. You say something like, "Here's what this number says." Now, here's the reason why I don't like the number.
I don't like.
You said what
Joe
your
Burrow's
pick was,
playing.
and then said it as
They
if
have
you
Jamarr
were.
Chase. You're not letting me.
No, Griffin, you're not getting it.
I'm not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not hearing me.
No, it's probably me.
Yes,
probably
I know.
me.
Well, now you
That's
definitely can't hear me. You just took your headphones off.
Well, you're literally 3 feet away from me. I can hear.
And but that's a good point, KZ. You couldn't hear KZ. He's talking.
Lord.
I'm taking the Bengals as well.
KC said that I've got this number. It says the Ravens can literally never lose. So obviously I'm going to take the Bengals.
Well, it means the do. That side could also be do as well.
Right.
What's everybody else doing? We got
most of us on Cincinnati. There are 4 backers of the Ravens: Stetka, Jeremy Kahn, James Revere, and Joe Serpico on the Baltimore Ravens.
Very good. KZ, we will see you late tomorrow night.
Yes, you will.
Love you, buddy.
You will. Everybody have a good dinner and happy holiday, and join us after the game for a Ravens 4-point win.
Hopefully, I would like to be wrong. I would like for them to win by 3 touchdowns.
I would like to see them put up 40 points again.
That would be wonderful. All right, pal. We'll see you tomorrow night. Happy Thanksgiving, bud. It's Ken Zalis with us for picks every week. We'll come back in, Tidbit and Two-Bit to wrap it up. Glenn Clark Radio.
Get ready to hit the ultimate holiday jackpot at Live Casino during the live-action $1 million giveaway. Every Friday through December 26th, we'll draw 25 lucky cash winners. But only one winner each Friday will advance to the final rounds on December 26th, where you could win $1 million in just 3 spins. Come make your million, only at Live Casino. At Erndale Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Winding down for the week here on GCR. Don't forget we will have game day tomorrow night. If you haven't picked up the print issue of Press Box yet, it is available still for another couple of weeks with new Maryland AD Jim Smith on the cover. Great story from Don Marcus. Get it at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. Better be a good tidbit because I got to go.
All right, I was going to do sack leaders since Myles Garrett's about to obliterate the sack record.
Single season all time?
Yes, there have been 11 guys that have had 20 sacks in a season. Garrett's sitting at 18 right now.
Well, obviously, Michael Strahan.
Strahan has the record at 22, or tied for the record here, 22.5.
It's Mark Gastineau, right?
Gastineau has 22.
Because remember, he was really pissed off that Brett Favre laid down for... T.J. Watt, right?
Yes, T.J. Watt tied Strahan a few years ago with 22.5 in 2021.
I don't know who else is on this list. There's the only. How many are there?
There's 11 guys.
11 guys.
Yeah.
I'm just Julius Peppers.
No Julius Peppers.
Okay. How about Reggie White?
Reggie White.
Is that who had the record before Strahan? No, Gastineau had it.
Yeah,
right.
Gastineau in 84. Yeah, Gastineau in 84 set it at 22, and he broke it.
How about J.J. Watt?
That's been the big one for a while. Yes, J.J. twice had 20 sacks in his 20. He had twice had 20.5 sacks in his season. Reggie White had 21 in 87. Reggie White came close in 87 to tying Gastineau. Bruce Smith did not ever reach 20. He had 19 in 1990.
Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas is on the list. 20 in 1990.
Howie Long.
No Howie Long.
So don't remember what year they officially started recording sex either.
82.
82.
So, yeah, so that's...
DeMarcus Ware.
Yes, DeMarcus Ware in 2008 with Dallas had 20 sacks. Yes, 7.
How about Lawrence Taylor?
Yes, LT. 20 and a half and 86.
John Randall?
No.
Jared Allen?
Yes, Jared Allen had 22 in 2011.
Dwight Freeney?
What was Allen's last year? No Dwight Freeney.
Robert Mathis?
No.
Jason Taylor?
No. No Jason Taylor.
Did you say no So there's another?
Well,
J?
just because Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, okay. I already got that one. How many more am I missing?
We're missing...
9. So missing 2.
Yeah, unless I miscounted here. 1,
Chris
2.
Dolman.
Yes, Chris Dolman had 21 and 89.
R.I.P.
So 2 more, sorry. So I guess I miscounted somewhere.
Okay. I don't know. Help
One
me
is
out.
a former Raven. Did not do it with the Ravens.
Did not do it with Jason Pierre-Paul?
Not Jason Pierre-Paul.
Elvis Doomerville?
First name did start with a J, though.
First name did start with a J. First name started with a J. Didn't do it with the Ravens. Oh, Justin Houston?
Justin Houston
Wow, I don't remember him
had,
having
yeah, he had 22 in 2014 with Kansas City.
Huh. And there's still one more?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Who? Give me something.
He retired a few years ago, like recently, like
Retired
2 years ago,
recently.
3 years ago.
Retired. James Harrison?
Like kind of young.
Kind of.
Like you look at him and he's 34 right now and he retired 2 years ago. Like he could still play probably. Wow, he was a Pro Bowler every year and then an All-Pro, a first-team All-Pro, all but one of his.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
I'm just not thinking of. You forget that Aaron Donald was that dude despite being a defensive. You're trying to think of edges, and that's not what.
20 and a half sacks in 2018 for AD.
Game Day Men's Health. I keep trying to explain to you, peptide proteins have really been a game changer for me, but you might be low T. If you're feeling sluggish, you're feeling run down, you're a man of a certain age, you might be low T. You can get a complimentary testosterone test. It's free. That's it. Just find out. Get an answer. You might also be dealing with erectile dysfunction, performance issues in the bedroom, stubborn belly fat that just doesn't want to come off. Game Day Men's Health has solutions for you. Safe space for men. Give them a call in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454, Columbia, 443-266-3505, or Frederick, 240-931-3717, and GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Going to have to be a comeback effort for Towson today in the final down in Kissimmee.
Maybe they got it in them.
Well, I hope they do. They are
only
against UC San Diego.
A lot of time left.
It's on ESPN2 right now. They're down by 26 with 5 minutes to play in the first half.
Well, we just got to make a point a minute and not allow San Diego to score anymore.
It's bad. It's bad.
That's all they have to do.
Maryland, Alabama tonight at midnight, or probably later on TNT. Out in Vegas, Navy takes on Gardner-Webb at 4 in Wilmington. That's on Flow Hoops. Unfortunately, a really good one between the Kentucky and Maryland women at 5:30.
No.
Also only on Flow Hoops, which sucks. The final in Vegas is Michigan Gonzaga tonight at 9:30 on TNT. Also Tennessee Kansas tonight at 7 on TNT. Those are some pretty good ones. Everything else, go to GlennClarkRadio.com. Non-sports.
Yeah, there's some stuff. Oh, Stranger Things is the big one. That's the final
today?
season. Yes.
I thought it was tomorrow. I thought it was on
final season tonight of Stranger Things. Jingle Bell Heist also
what
on
do you mean
Netflix.
Tonight? Is it? So is it?
Well, like today, I guess. Yeah.
Well, can you watch it right now? Or
yeah.
Do you, okay. All right.
Yeah. The Beatles anthology has been restored and remastered. That'll be that's available on Disney Plus. Thanksgiving Day Parade tomorrow, obviously, followed by the National Dog Show on NBC, of course.
Oh, you're doing tomorrow stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the rest of the weekend. Season 1 finale of The Chair Company as well.
It's Sunday. You're just doing all the whole weekend. You can go to GlennClarkRadio.com. We're not doing the whole weekend. There's too much.
I mean, I'm just mentioning it.
All right. We'll post it.
Know.
All right. Thanks today to Rocky Boiman. Thanks also to KZ as well as to Patrick Stevens. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the
Dennis Leary and Zoe Deutsch on Fallon.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com.
The SNL Best of Thanksgiving is tonight too.
Oh, I do love those.
9 o'clock.
Well, I will be in bed.
Okay.
That's the reality.
Tape it.
I am up at 3. Don't forget, tomorrow night for Project Game Day after the game. We will be off tomorrow and Friday, but back on Monday. So come hang out with us for Game Day tomorrow night. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Game Day Men's Health, Nick's Fish House, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygambling.org, countysports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, the Costas Inn, Live Casino and Hotel, your Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Ravens, Navy, Maryland, local hoops, Towson. Yeah, by all means, Duke sucks.